welcome to my presentation. My presentation topic is on living things and non-living things, and this living things and non-living things is studied in class 4 and the subject is science. So these are the outlines of my topics. So first thing I'm going to present is about the objectives, then I'm going to present what living things, the characteristics, some of the examples of living things, and then I'm going to talk about the non-living things, the characteristics and examples of non-living things, and the last presentation is about the activity, which is like quiz. So these are the objectives of my presentation. At the end of the lesson, each child will be able to, so the first objectives is like the student will be able to differentiate what living things and non-living things. So they will differentiate how living things and non-living things are different, and they will be able to differentiate the characteristic of living things and non-living things, how the characteristic of living and non-living things are different. So these are the characteristics, so these are the objectives of my presentation. So things around us, so we can see many things around us, and these things are divided into two. And before saying what are the two things which are divided into two, I'm going to give some of the examples that we can see around us. So we can see houses, we can see house around us, we can see cars, vehicles, we can also see natures, the environment, the trees around us, we can see human beings, we can see birds around us. So these are the things which we can see around us, and there are many things that we can see. So these are some of the examples that I have presented, that I have given here. So the things which we can see around us are divided into two. So first one is living things. So what is living thing? The things that have life are called living things. So anything that have life are called living things. So these living things, they need food, water and air to stay alive. Without this food, water and air, they cannot live. So living things, they have the ability to reproduce or give birth, and they can grow and they can change on their own. So these living things, they can give birth to the younger, they can give birth, and at the same time they can grow and they can change on their own without help of others. So these are known as living things. So if I talk about the characteristics of living things, so these are the characteristics of living things: movement, growth, breathe, need food and water, gives birth. And if I talk more about these characteristics, so the first one is movement. So all living things can move and they need ability to move. So living things, as they have life, they can move on their own, and they have the ability to move. They don't need someone to move them. The second, and if I give examples, so we can see a boy walking to school, so he can move on his own without help of others. And the second characteristic is growth. So all living things need to grow and stay healthy. They take food and energy to stay healthy. As living things, as I said before, living things can grow and they have to stay healthy. So in order to stay healthy, they take in substances like food, water, and water in order to stay healthy. So for example, a human from a baby to a big boy. So this is a baby boy who is grown up to a cute little big boy. So this is when he was young, and now he is grown up to a big boy. The third characteristic is breathe. So all living things can breathe. So like I said, living things, they need air. So without air, they cannot live in this world. So that's why the living things can breathe. Living things take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide in atmosphere. So as you can see in this picture, a girl, she takes in oxygen from the atmosphere and then she gives out carbon dioxide. So living things, what they do is like they take in oxygen and then they produce carbon dioxide. They breathe out carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. So the fourth characteristics of living thing is like they need food and water. All living things need food and water to survive and for the growth. So without food and water they cannot survive, and moreover it's very important for their growth. So now I'm going to give some of the examples of living things. So the first example of living thing is animals. So animals are also considered as living things because these animals have life. They need food, they need water, they need air to survive, and they can grow, they can give birth. So these are the examples of living things. So the second example of living thing is plant. Plants are also considered as living things because they have a life, they die. Once their life gets over, they die. They need air, they need water to survive. Now I'm going to talk about non-living things, the other living things which is divided in surrounding. So the first one is living thing and second one is non-living thing. So what is non-living thing? Non-living thing, the things that do not have life is called non-living things. Anything that do not have life is called non-living thing. They do not need air, water and food, and they do not have the ability to reproduce or give birth, and they cannot grow. So it's just the opposite of living things. So non-living thing, they do not have life, they do not need air, water and food, and they do not have the ability to reproduce or give birth, and they cannot grow. And in general, non-living things are considered as man-made things, the things which are made by man. And to talk about the characteristic of non-living things, they do not need food, water and air, they cannot grow, they don't give birth, they cannot move on their own, and they are man-made things. And these are the examples of non-living things. So like I said before, non-living things are the man-made things. So this chair, table and house are all made by the human being. So they are considered as non-living things because they don't have life, they don't need food, nor they need water to survive, nor they need air, and as general they don't have life. So these are the examples of non-living things, and I hope I made my presentation very clear. So that's all. Thank you.